All right, so let's talk about alignment now. Without a doubt, alignment is probably the low-hanging fruit for every golfer that they are able to work on and be aware of every single time. Not only that they're out there playing, but also practicing. Uh, and just by being aligned towards your target can simply just change your golf swing dramatically, because your subconscious is always trying to redirect your swing, make a compensation to get that ball heading back towards your intention, which is the target out there. And very often, if you go out to the first tee, you'll see players aiming over here.
Yeah.
Right. And we find a lot of the time when you ask players, do you know where you're aiming? They'll say, yeah, at the target. And then as coaches, we get our alignment sticks out, we show them where the club face is, or I get down and I hold their club face for them. And then all of a sudden they're aiming like out into Jumanji over there. So what is your way of training players to align themselves towards their target? I've got my way, but I want to hear yours.
Yeah, look, it's one of those things, right, that when we do adjust that alignment for players, they're so uncomfortable with it because they've, if they've been aiming right for a year or however long they've been aiming, once we start to get them to aim straight, they feel like they are aiming at these left trees here, right? And look, I do it. I'm a right-handed golfer, and when I'm comfortable, I like to aim to the right. So we've got to be very careful. So one of the things that I like to do is pick out a simple intermediate target, right? So it's just something in front of the golf ball. I like to bring it as close to the golf ball as we can. A lot of players will choose something out here.
Let me add something to that, is that a lot of players will say that they're aiming at an intermediate target, and then they'll pick something obvious like that patch of divots.
Yep.
And they go, yep, I'm aiming at it, but your target might be over there, dude.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we can create an intermediate target as close as we can, like if we're setting up to the golf ball, I want to still be able to see that intermediate target. So when I actually set up to that golf ball, and you'll see it from Tiger, he does it a lot, right? He'll come in and he's looking at the spot in front of his ball, not the actual golf ball. He's looking at where he needs to put that club face in order to line up correctly. So, you can use a tee, you can use an alignment stick, but, we can just use a golf ball right in front of this golf ball just as a reference point.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I'm going to pretend that I'm the amateur recreational golfer here, and I'm someone who sets up, and you ask me, I go, okay, where are you aiming? And I go, relative to where we need to be aiming here, let's say it's just to the right edge of this bunker out in front of us. And then I'm over here, and you ask me, are you aimed at your target? And I go, yes.
And what you just did there, right? This is the biggest thing I see is the head swivel.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's instead of going this way, they go this way.
Over the shoulder.
So they see, and this is what the brain does, right? It knows it wants to go there.
Yeah.
So your body just goes, well, I'm over here. Or you see people, doing these ones, right? It's like, I don't know what that is, right? But basically that they make, exactly, right? The stick down. And so basically we want to try and feel like if we were just lining up, we want to try and feel like our eye line just goes straight down the target. And what you'll find is if you are aiming out to the right or out to the left, and you do that, you'll actually notice that, I'm out to the right at this point in my swing. So
what I do, just adding on to that, is I will get the player and I go, okay, you tell me where you're aiming, and I would have already filmed them so I can show them the visual evidence, because a lot of the time they might be in a situation, I trust the coach, but when someone actually sees it, makes a world of differences. They might be aiming way out to the right, and they look over their shoulder, and we see a lot of cricket players do that. But then I'll get their head, and what I'll do is I'll get this golf club, I'll play it across their eye line, and I said, I want you to tilt your eye line on the angle that your spine is and have a look.
Yeah.
And what that does is that starts to direct their eye line out where they're actually aiming, rather than cocking their neck over their shoulder and looking out their left eye. Just by rotating their head or swiveling their head on the same axis of what their body is rotated on, starts to give them a really good perspective of where the target is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So let's talk about this intermediate target.
Yeah, so I like to bring it in nice and close. So if you set up to your golf ball there, just let's say you're aiming a little bit right.
Okay, a little bit right. So this black line here, guys, is the reference for our straight line, and we're playing pretend here that I'm aiming a little bit too far right. Okay.
Yep. Okay. So basically, what I can see here is if I was to, I'm going to place one golf ball down where you are actually aiming. Okay, which is roughly about, say, about here. Okay, so we can all see that. All right, and one thing you're going to do is compensate for that alignment. So to get it back onto the target, you're going to have to come over the top or close the face or whatever you have to do, right? So there's a lot of things you might be trying to do in your swing that will not be possible because you're aligned incorrectly.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to try and feel like, and I'm just going to take this ball away and I'm just going to have a look here where I think it should be. And we're going to try and pick a point, maybe, a foot in front of the golf ball. And I want you to line up so that your club face aims straight over that white ball on the front.
Okay, so do you want me to start from behind, or are you quite happy for me to just set up here from side on?
So let's do both. Let's go side on first, so you can get a feel as to where that really is. Okay, because you've been aiming right for so long that now when you're aiming straight, do you feel like that's left?
So far left.
Yeah, feels like you're going to go in the trees.
Yeah.
And one thing that when I'm coaching and they'll hit a shot straight after this and it will go left.
Yeah.
And so see, that's where I was aiming. No, it's because you've been compensating for all this time, right? You've just been aiming right and pulling it back on target. Now you're aiming correctly, you pull it left. So we have to kind of train, and this is why we have to kind of train alignment all the time. So ideally, right, in order to get the correct spot, start from behind. You'll see so many tour players, if not all, start from behind the golf ball. And what
I see them do, right, is there's a variety of ways of doing this, guys. Like you could stand here, you could line the club up like this. You can stand in front, you can draw a visual line with your hands, so on and so forth. What's the way that you recommend?
Yeah, so I like them to start from behind the ball, pick that visual line, okay, really have a look at what that line looks like. And then, there will be a line that goes straight through your target area. And that line ideally would be going straight through, from that ball to this ball, straight down that line.
Okay, great. So this is an excellent drill for you guys to train yourself at home. Can be at home, can be on the golf course. When you're playing, when you're practicing, just don't rely on the angles of the mats and the ropes. Sometimes they're not straight. So standing behind, let's say we're going to the right edge of this bunker here. I'm drawing the visual line from the right edge of that bunker back to my golf ball. And Ryan's placed a golf ball about 6 inches to a foot. Anywhere around there is close enough where you can still see it in your peripherals. That is on line with that target. Now, as I then walk in, I'm focusing just on this ball, Ryan?
The front ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to focus on the front ball. So you align your club face first.
Right.
Not the feet.
That's very important, very important. Talk to us why that's important.
Well, if you set your feet right, a lot of people think that your feet should be aiming at the target. Whereas in fact, golf is a side-on sport. So if your feet is aiming at the target, your club has to be aiming to the right of the target, hasn't it?
Yeah, and just quickly kind of covering that is that because we stand a distance away from the ball, we need somewhat of a parallel relationship between the club face and the feet. It doesn't have to be perfect. And yes, there are pro golfers that aim a little bit right or left, but what we see which has the greatest influence is that most of the time, if players set their feet first, that then dictates the club face position.
Yep.
It's not necessarily about the parallel lines. It's for the fact that they're aiming right, then they put the club down, they're generally going to be aiming right with the club. So club face always first.
Club face first, absolutely.
So walk in, checking that line, put my right foot forward first, and looking at that golf ball.
Yeah, and you want that club face to be dead straight in line with that front ball there.
Okay, now from here, I would like to hear your thoughts. Do you look at the target then, or do you keep looking at the ball?
Yeah, so from there, I like to just draw a line with my eyes straight down my target to make sure that club face is aiming in the right position.
My head is automatically tilted just based on what we were talking about before, which I love.
Yep.
And then from there, what I get players to do is I keep the club face there. I get them to move their feet around while they're looking at their target, visualizing the shot. Then after they've done that, then they can relax their arms. It's very important that players do this and always have this in mind, the intermediate target. Obviously, you're not going to place a golf ball down in front, but you're picking a blade of grass, something small. The reason I like something small here, Ryan, as well, is that it focuses you in. It kind of distracts you from thinking about the process of the swing. It goes, okay, most important thing at the end of the day when I'm playing golf is a club face alignment, target, get myself set and comfortable, still got that little intermediate target in mind. Then I feel like I'm ready to go. Anything you'd add to that?
No, I think when you're practicing this, you can actually place a tee in the ground so that you can actually strike the golf ball and not break your tee.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing I would say is change your target nearly every shot.
Yeah.
So that you don't get used to the same target each time. Because one thing you'll realize is for right-handed golfers, speaking from experience here, it's very hard for us to aim at left flags.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Really hard, but it's easy to aim at right flags.
Correct.
So change your target, aim at the left part of the fairway, or when you're on the range, aim at the left targets, aim at the right targets, and change it up so that you're always problem solving when you're working on this.
Yeah, mate, I love that. So to summarize here, what we're going to do is we're going to stand back and behind. We're going to draw a visual line from our target. We are going to train our aim by using a golf ball or a tee. When you're out there playing, you just want to be very specific. Pick a blade of grass or something similar. Then from there, as you walk in, lining up your club face first, drawing a visual line to the target, setting your feet. Ryan's going to move that golf ball out of the way. I'm feeling nice and comfortable, keeping the target in mind. Started dead straight on line. Mate, felt brilliant.
Perfect.